Hey there, Squirrel Army! We're here to talk about Tech Through Inquiry Dominance, the new proliferate panharmonicon from Phyrexia. All will be one. You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing. Alright, so we're here to talk about this new card, really powerful card. If you would proliferate, you proliferate twice that many instead, essentially. So that's really good. A 4 mana, 3/5 flyer. You can remove 3 counters from among other artifacts, creatures, and or planeswalkers you control to put an indestructible counter on it. So, you know, I think that one of those things as well, can you proliferate in like the indestructible stroke hexproof counters, etc.? I'm just wondering whether you can actually proliferate those counters, because they are counters. So that could be quite insane. You could I think we were thinking about this a little bit with the last one, the white one, where it can put an indestructible counter. I didn't really say it, but I know a lot of people have been saying that you can move the counters around with nesting grounds and things like that. That would be very good with this. And again, I will say that getting to look at this as a commander, maybe this one wouldn't be that bad, though I'm always hesitant to think about mono-colored commanders. It always makes me feel like you're going to have a problem somewhere along the line, because each color can only do so much on its own. You really need support from at least one of the other colors, for the most part, in my opinion, to have a well-rounded deck. So, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of blue proliferate shenanigans. Not that there's none, but certainly there's no real heavy +1 counters themes in mono blue and whatnot. So I would think you at least have to go into green or white for most of the other counters, strategy type stuff. Obviously, again, a lot of the of these Dominuses that they've showed so far could go well in the Atraxa deck, or the old Atraxa deck, I should say, because, well, that just deals with the counters. So this could fit very easily into that. And, end step double proliferate seems really, really powerful, especially on a 3/5 flyer. So not as powerful perhaps as what Atraxa herself is, or at least old Atraxa herself is, but still that's really strong. You get that indestructible counter, and then you can move it around. You can put it on your Atraxa, you can put it on any number of your other creatures or your other permanents or whatnot. So that would be really dumb when you start just proliferating those counters, and if you get hexproof counters, and I guess there's flying and death touch and other counters, but again, for the most part, you will be having a lot of that stuff on your commander anyway. There's not a whole lot that Atraxa needs, and as far as those sort of counters, I would guess. So yeah, maybe trample, I don't know, but she already has flying, so I don't know. But yeah, this is just really, really strong. Like, in any deck that has a lot of proliferate, if it happens to be blue, which I guess is the only one I can really think of is Atraxa. But again, there are other decks that are emerging that do have planeswalkers and whatnot that are in blue and might want to take advantage of this whole thing. It's kind of like Inexorable Tide. So in that way, I think that's the only other card that I can really think of that's in blue that does anything really with like proliferate and whatnot. Oh no, there's those flyers and whatnot that when they hit, they proliferate or whatnot. So yeah, there's not a huge amount out there that does a whole lot with it, but yeah, not nothing certainly, but there's not a lot that does come to mind certainly. So if I am maybe forgetting a couple things that are out there, Do forgive me there, but yeah, I do think that this is a strong card and can fit into any deck that wants to proliferate, even if you're just using like Contagion Engine and Contagion Clasp and things like that, or whatnot, whatever other sort of effects that you can use to proliferate. And then, yeah, just getting a whole lot of counters on either your creatures or your planeswalkers or even experience counters, because that's another thing that you could proliferate, or even poison counters again, but I think that's a bit dull and boring because you'll get there so quickly and so easily anyway, so 10 counters is absolutely nothing, really. So, yeah, it's not very hard to get there at all and just win with something like this with poison, so yeah, that's going to be a really nasty thing that's going to start happening from this next set, that poison's really going to be a bigger and bigger thing. I really feel like perhaps they should change the poison rule for EDH, make it 21, make it the same as commander damage. I mean, a lot of the time it's not going to 1,000% matter, because if you're just dead, you're just dead. But, you know, like, in those circumstances where a lot of these things work together and it just sort of makes things a little bit too easy to get to that 10 too quickly, even though I know someone will say, I'll just run more removal or whatever. I can't run 30 removal spells, guys. Come on, or whatever. You know, so yeah, it is what it is when you're thinking about, you know, those sorts of things. But it's hard to say that the 1,000% should be changed. But again, you could make a solid argument. But then again, the person who's playing, well, it's only from permanence, isn't it? Ah, man, you can't remove counters from players, can you? So I thought, well, you could be nice and like remove the counters from people here and just be like, oh, I'll take some of your poison counters just to put an indestructible counter on this thing. Yeah, that'd be nice, but whatever. It's still super duper incredibly cool in that regard, that it does a thing that you can sort of build around if you really want to try to figure it out. I don't really have as much gusto for this one, but honestly, if people again want to see me build a deck around this one, you can let me know your thoughts, or let me know if you really want to see that. Write your thoughts down in the comments below about this one, and I hope to see you in the next one.